Sure to appreciate y'all coming, especially you, Skinny Lizzy. Me and my cousin Frank, he's the one that robbed the bank. Bought some whiskey y'all could drink and it's in the barn. You see, Ma passed away. There's not much else to say. Except I'd like you all to pray. Don't know what we're gonna do. Won't you all come again? Won't you all come? Your faces keep us warm.
They were some of the first words written and recorded by Ireland's greatest rock star, Phil Lynott. This is where it all began.
We went over to England and Philip was born in the Hallam Hospital, West Bromwich. He was the most beautiful baby. He was 9.5 pounds born, so he looked like a 3-month-old baby.
Yeah.
Yes, he was huge. And I always remember the nurses, they'd measured the length of him and he was 21.5 inches long. I don't know what an average baby's length and stuff. Anyway, he was a beautiful child and he was adorable as a toddler, like 2, 3. But I used to play a lot of music. And he'd be in the old-fashioned wooden cots, you know, with like a little prison sort of thing. And in those days, you used to put long nighties on them. There wasn't the little
baby grows.
Yeah. And I would put the music on, and he'd be dancing at 1 year of age, holding on to the cot, going to the music, non-stop. It was hilarious to watch him.
Although Phil was born in West Bromwich, he was raised in the Dublin suburb of Crumlin, where he met Brian Downey.
It was at school. Where did we meet Brian?
School.
At school, yeah.
Bruce Shields explains how he asked Phil to join Skid Row.
Well, I first met Phil. I went up to the house in Crumlin and I knocked on the door. You know, I said, like, you know, I'm looking for a singer. Yeah, we went into the room there where they had all the records, and I asked him what kind of music he liked, and he put on the Velvet Underground. I told him I didn't like that. Okay. You know, I said, well, you know, and then he put on, very strange, he put on Paul Simon singing Most Peculiar Man. I didn't like that. Yeah. So I told him, you know, the type of thing I was going to try and do. And did he like the Birds? And I liked 8 Miles High and that kind of thing, and I liked the Beatles, and we'd start off with doing that, and then we'd start writing a few songs. But I hadn't given him the job. I had to audition him. Ben Achievers was on guitar, Noel Bridgman and myself, and Phil came down with a great pair of sunglasses. I hadn't seen them before. I thought, this guy looks great, and a nice gabardine, sort of greyish gabardine overcoat. He looked fabulous. So we tried Hey Joe, and after the first verse I said, like, I had a job, I just want to talk to the other 2 guys. So we put him outside the door. Ben had reckoned that he could sing Hey Joe better.
First of all, I advised Bruce Shields to write his own material. And then they started to get more and more instrumental. There was big, long instrumental passages. And it was the time when music was going through, like, weird time changes, you know, 7/4s and 13/8. So I used to find myself standing at the side of the stage doing nothing, because you couldn't even dance to a 13/8 tempo, you know. And so the bass player said, you better learn how to play an instrument because we're going to throw you out of the band. So he taught me how to play the bass, and then they threw me out of the band.
Phil's first band, the Black Eagles, played a variety of cover songs.
We played other people's songs, like we did other people's hits. We used to play Little Green Apples. God didn't make little green apples. And we used to play Oh It's Crying Time Again. And we used to play You Really Got Me by the Kinks. I'm trying to remember what's the last. We played a B-side of a Beatles song. I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Imagine I'm in love with you. Easy, cause I know. Many times before. Not like me. A good time. I'll get you in the end.
Eric Bell remembers his first meeting.
Around the first time that I did meet him was very strong memories, because we had a talk about getting a band together. The very first night I ever met him, and he wanted me to hear some of his songs, and he came up to the flat I was living in at the time in Manor Street in Dublin, and he had this white trench coat on, and looked pretty dapper, and came up to the flat, and I borrowed a reel-to-reel tape recorder, and we sat and listened to his songs. Memories like that. Also, the very early Thin Lizzy, to actually make ends meet. Myself and Phil was living in a flat in Clontarf. We had to go into town with 2 acoustic guitars and play the pubs in Dublin to acoustics just to make a sort of a living while Thin Lizzy was getting off the ground.